Hello everyone, happy Thursday. I want to do a video around breaking out of systems and how this jab that the human collective is going through, how that is allowing us to step out of systems of control and step into sovereignty, and what happens when the human collective starts to do this, okay? So for the United States, our president has just spoken that he's going to have people go door to door to different communities in the United States, different neighborhoods, to try to convince humans that haven't taken the jab to take the jab. I want to preface before I go further, I am not here to tell you what to do. I'm not here to say it's the right thing is to take the jab, the right thing is not to take it, okay? What I am here to say is that this is about sovereignty. This is about understanding what is your absolute truth, regardless of what anyone else is telling you, and to follow that, right? What resonates with you. So here's what happens, right? We incarnate into the human world, into the human body, and we are in a matrix. We are in a world where we are programmed, so deeply programmed that we don't even realize we're programmed. And then when we start realizing that we're programmed, we begin to realize just how deeply we are programmed, okay? We are mind controlled. They use fear tactics to control us. Greed, manipulation, all of these things are ways in which we have been under the guise of these large systems at play. When the human collective evolves, which is what we're doing right now, when we start evolving, we move out of being controlled and we step into sovereignty. So most of our lives, we've been pulled out of our own sovereignty. What is my truth? What do I believe? What do I want? Instead of what systems are telling me. You have to do this, you have to go to school, you have to get a degree to get a good job, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay? Now, this isn't black or white. This is just, I don't want you to be like, well, actually, I don't, there's a lot of arguments that people can have when they listen to this. What I'm saying is that in general, the entire human collective has been controlled. And when you evolve, you step out of these controlled systems. That's what's happening right now. And that's one of the greatest gifts that COVID gave us, is that the human collective is starting to realize, things seem a little fishy the more I start diving into what's unraveling. So when our government, the United States government, says we're going to go door to door to get you to try to convince you to take this, right? You have to start to ask yourself what's going on here, right? What is going on here? When more humans start to stand up and say no, meaning this is my sovereign truth, this is my sovereign body, this is what I want to do. I no longer want to follow what I have been following my whole life, the government or these systems, the medical system, right? What happens is these systems that are used to being in control, they're used to being able to control you, they get more forceful, okay? This is all about control. We can label it COVID, we can label it Delta variant, we can label it vaccines, but it's all about control, okay? When humans start standing up and saying no, right, and they start to use their sovereignty and their voice to no longer go with the narrative that they've been given their whole lives, the systems that are used to being in place are going to become more forceful. And what's going to happen is humans may give in, because that's a lot of force. It's scary, right? When the government comes knocking on your door, right? How much force is our government, the United States government, going to do? How much force is your government going to do in your country, right? How loud do we have to get for those of us that are standing up and saying no to this thing, right? How loud? And what's going to happen is there's going to be more force and more force and more force. And here's the thing. This evolution in human consciousness, the sole purpose is to bring us into sovereignty. The sole purpose of evolving is moving into higher states of consciousness, which is moving into sovereignty and breaking out of programming, breaking out of what we have thought we were in and we weren't in. We thought we've been free. We're not. We have been told what to think, feel, be, and do our whole lives, right? And many of us are not going to want to believe that. And it's okay. You get to have your experience. You don't have to believe what I'm saying. But there will be more and more external experiences that are going to continue to come in front of our faces to allow us to snap out of the matrix and the programming in order to come into our bodies, in order to speak our truth, and in order to become sovereign. That's the only way through this. So it's going to get louder out there. There's going to be more force. There's going to be situations that you may find yourself in that you can't believe you're in. You may have to do things that you don't want to do. I don't know how it's going to unravel, but I do know this. The more that we stand in our sovereignty, whatever your sovereignty is, and again, this is not about what is right in terms of the jab. This is about your sovereignty, period. And the more that we stand in our sovereignty, especially if that sovereignty is against the mainstream narrative, the mainstream narrative is going to get louder. Okay, and the louder the mainstream narrative gets, the harder it's going to be, supposedly, for the human to stand in their sovereignty. So this is part of it, okay? This is part of how the human collective evolves. How far are we going to be pushed? How far are these systems going to take it? There's nothing wrong with what is happening right now, because this is how we break apart and break down systems. We see that we have been in systems that have controlled us, that have lied to us, that have manipulated us. And for those of you that can't see it yet, that's okay as well. That's okay as well. Because we're all going to eventually start to step out of what we have been in. We're all going to have an opportunity to stand in sovereignty over and over and over again and look out and see what has always been there that we haven't been able to see. And I just want to remind you that when systems like the government gets more forceful, when they get more dictatorship, when they get more like they're trying to control more and more and more, that is a behavior based on fear. That is a behavior based on fear, which means that they are not there's a fear that they are having, a fear that their agenda or whatever it is that that it's rolling out isn't rolling out the way they want. And so they have to put down more force and more control, which requires us to stand in even more sovereignty. This isn't easy, especially when it is creating divide among your friends and your family. It is extremely important to not judge another person's decision. This evolution is going to happen regardless of what is occurring right now. It may take a little bit longer, who knows? But the evolution in human consciousness and the human collective stepping out of these programs and these systems, it's happening, no matter what. So if your neighbor or your friend is doing something that you don't think they should be doing because they're not awake yet, that's not going to make the biggest difference. The biggest difference is that you stand in your sovereignty. That's it. You're being the example. What is your truth? And don't throw your truth on anyone else. Don't throw it on anyone else like it's their responsibility. Let them do what they need to do right now. Let them be. Let them be. Just because you see things and others don't doesn't mean you're better than them. At all. At all. All that does is perpetuate the divide that we are here to evolve out of. Be responsible for you and your choices. Be responsible for your truth and your sovereignty. No, it is no one else's fault that you are experiencing whatever you're experiencing or the human collective is. We are all going to be evolving, breaking free, and stepping into our sovereignty no matter what. We just all have to go through it in our own way. So when you see these systems, like the U.S. government going door to door to try to get you to do something because you haven't done it yet and they really want you to, stand in your sovereignty. Stay in your truth. Because there's going to be more opportunities for you to continue to do that. And what I mean by that is, this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning of learning how to stand in sovereignty. We will see more of what we're seeing right now play out. We will see more of it. The more the human collective breaks free, the louder those systems are going to get. This is the beginning of a massive physical shift in the human collective. And nobody is doing it. Nobody is right in the way they're doing it, meaning however you're doing it is the way you need to do it. Your sovereignty is yours. That person's sovereignty is theirs, period. Stop trying to tell somebody that their sovereignty isn't correct. You don't know that. I don't know that. Which is why in this video, I am not here to tell you what to do. I'm not here to tell you that it is the right thing to do this and it's the wrong thing to do this. What I am saying is that no matter what, you are going to have an opportunity over and over and over again to come into your sovereignty and to break free from these systems. Whether you see the systems right now or not. And God bless every single human that is navigating this journey right now as best as they can, because it's not easy. And shame on us if we are pointing the finger at everybody else because they're not doing it the way we want them to do it. Point no fingers at anyone but you. You're only responsible for you. We are one unified human collective with 8 billion unique individual human bodies that are going to be doing their best to navigate this massive, massive evolution that requires us to step out of the deep, deep mind control and programming that we have been in. And there is nothing easy about it. So we stay in our hearts. We have love and compassion for as many humans as we possibly can, including ourselves, and we watch this unravel. Take care of yourself. I love you so much, and we are all navigating this together, and this is not about the vaccine or the masks or the COVID. It's not about that. It's about the bigger perspective, which is breaking out of systems that have been in place for a very long time and becoming free and sovereign. I love you.